but I really can't do like another 3 months of Duke moving around the map saying, "Oh, I feel unwell," or "The skeletons are finding me," and my voice has changed, but I'm not going to explain why. And you're like,
Welcome to the unofficial Sea of Thieves podcast, a podcast dedicated to Sea of Thieves and other rare games, but mainly Sea of Thieves. And we have another wonderful episode today because we are discussing Season 2. A bit later than planned, but we ran into technical difficulties with our first recording, but hey, that might be a good thing. We now have had plenty of time to try the new Forts of Fortune, and even my opinion of the trade routes has changed. Still not completely sold on them, but we handle that topic when we get there. And before I forget, we will also discuss some real leaks at the end of the podcast. So yeah, plenty of topics to give our opinion about. And I am once again assisted by a brand new guest.
"Hi guys, I'm AShinyRay. I've been doing YouTube for around a year, started with Gears 5 and moved on to Sea of Thieves in January. And I've been enjoying making content for it, really."
Wow, that's a textbook intro. I wish every guest did that. So yeah, welcome. Good to have you here. So before I ask what your channel is all about, I would like to announce that, like I mentioned before, we did a recording before, and I actually did that with another guest. I did it with Shrox, but we ran into technical difficulties. So thank God AShinyRay was there to help us out. And Shrox will return for a future episode, so we're still going to do a podcast together. So yeah, AShinyRay, can you tell us and the listeners what your content is all about?
Okay, so yeah, I've been doing a whole lot of Sea of Thieves content in the last sort of since January. I started with a review of 2020 that didn't go too well, and for some reason the algorithm picked it up, so that sort of gave me the confidence to carry on. Yeah, really, it's I do discussions. I've dabbled in lore. I do reviews. I sort of do concepts as well. Basically, it's a mixed bag for Sea of Thieves. There's something for everyone. Sort of a jack of all trades, master of none sort of thing. But yeah, that's me.
All right, cool. Yeah, definitely check him out. It's definitely worth it. It's funny because we played together. Totally not expected to do that. Like I was looking for some runes, and like by pure happenstance, we got talking in my comment section because you were actually subscribed to me, and then you helped me find some runes, and you actually did, and I made a video about it. So it was really fun.
Yeah, we had a good laugh. I remember like seeing the review of season 2 for you, and I thought, just drop a comment. And then obviously you replied saying, "Oh, would you like to come on the podcast?" And I basically bit your hand off.
Well, that's fine. Like people are not lining up to be on the podcast with me, so it's always nice to have new guests.
They really don't know what they're missing. I'm being 100% honest here. It's a good laugh.
Nice. I'm so happy to hear that. And speaking about podcasts, let's dive right into the announcement because I'm not the only podcast anymore. Well, I wasn't to begin with. There's also the Keelhaul podcast. So if you can't get enough Sea of Thieves podcasts, check out Keelhaul. But there's also an official Sea of Thieves podcast now made by the developers. So do you give that a listen?
Yeah, so I've listened to it twice through. Once at work when I sort of really wasn't paying attention, and once before I went to bed, so I could like really sort of digest it. I think the nicest thing for me was to see a bit more of the developers outside of that sort of professional. Oh, we're doing video sort of thing. This is a trailer sort of thing. We're talking about the game. It was more of a sort of informal chat, and it was nice to see a bit of banter between the team. To be honest with you, but I think obviously because they want to keep. They want to keep things underneath their hat. They're sort of talking about the future a little bit, like a tiny bit without saying too much. But it's nice to have a sort of explanation of their thoughts behind what they put into season 2, essentially.
Yeah, that's true. It was certainly interesting, and like you said too, like it felt like a group of friends talking about the game instead of developers trying to promote the game. However, they did pat themselves on the back a bit too much. Like, yeah, I know you want to promote your stuff, but oh my, they overdone it a little bit. But oh well.
It's their job at the end of the day, and I sort of understand why they do it. No one's going to get on a podcast and say, "Yeah, our game's crap."
Yeah,
it's just not going to happen.
yeah, that's true. But they sound so enthusiastic about small tweaks in data, and they're so happy. I'm like, yeah, but I would reserve that enthusiasm for something that's really big, like I don't know, like a new world event or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
To keep the expectations a little bit in check of the people who are listening. But it's fine. Like you said, the developers, they, of course, you're going to promote your game. Anything interesting that you picked up during that podcast?
I quite like the explanation of the Fort of the Dam, not the Fort of the Dam, the Fort of Fortune, where they sort of were going for this year one sort of fort vibe. So for anyone who hasn't played in year one, forts used to spawn like every 3 hours, and they were the only event. And you used to get about 8 to 12k gold from them, and that was a lot back then. So servers would fight over the fort for hours and hours. Just to have a bit of respite from the 3 voyages that were quite grindy at the time. But yeah, I sort of liked how I guess I didn't really think about it when I sort of did my review and I played it initially, but certainly playing it more, it has sort of circled back to that vibe, and I'm quite enjoying that aspect of it, to be honest.
Yeah, same here. Like before the Fort of Fortune was announced, I was always talking with my crew, like, oh, I wish we could go back to the early days, when people are actually fighting for the forts. Because now we do a fort and you don't get bothered, you just do it, and it's just a PvE experience. Like sometimes somebody comes around, but with these Forts of Fortune, like everybody wants peace because it's really good money for everyone. So yeah, you're back in those PvP situations, and it's great. I love it. It's great. So yeah, when they said like we're tweaking the data so it feels a bit like year one again, and they did it, so that's always nice to hear it in the podcast too. Something I found interesting during the podcast is they talked about player activated events like the Fort of the Damned, because I want more of that. And again, if we go back to year one, we had the Hungering Deep, which was a megalodon you summoned with other crews by playing a tune at a certain location. I want something more like that, but in the podcast they told us they don't have any plans for that. They were experimenting with the Fort of the Damned, but not with a ritual skull, but like another type of skull. So you have, the same assets for the Fort of the Damned, but a different experience if you activate it in a different way. But they were unclear about if they're going to do that for the future or if it was just an idea that didn't come to fruition. So how do you feel about that?
I'm in 2 minds, to be honest with you. Like, we've had 4 iterations of forts at this point. We've had OG forts, we've had Ashen forts, which sort of were just a bit different because they had skeleton lords. Fort of the
Forgot-
Damned, and now Fort of Fortune. I'm sort of tired of forts. Maybe it's because we're fighting skeletons all the time. I'm not really sure as to why. But if they could somehow implement like a nice challenge, and if you use, say, a challenge skull, the loot's different. Say, I don't know, you could put an Ashen ritual skull and an Ashen Lord spawns, or a ghost of an Ashen Lord, and all the loot's then Ashen in the vault. That'd be sort of a nice trade-off. It's quite tedious fighting Grey Marrow, to be honest with you. He's quite a persistent fellow, and he's just a normal skeleton lord essentially, just with more health.
Yeah.
I'd be open to it if it didn't take away from the development of, say, other world events or other concepts.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that too. Yeah, because I often read a lot of interesting ideas from my subscribers. Oh, we want this and this and this, and like small tweaks that I kind of agree with, but I'm all like, yeah. But what about the other stuff? Like, let's have them focus on the stuff we really want. So yeah, that's always is a nice debate. So I agree. I want different experience for the Fort of them too. But I really want tall tales. That's what I want more. Or hippos. Give me hippos, rare.
Which would you prefer, tall tales or hippos? If you had
The
to pick one,
hippos. Like, man, they even dare to ask that question. Of course, hippos. They're never gonna do that. It's a super selfish wish. But if I were in charge, yeah, hippos for sure.
in that sort of same vein, maybe this is a selfish wish, but I do see people ask for this. I would love more wildlife in general. So like more things to hunt, more things to attack you in the sea, some more sort of more ambient life. Maybe some sort of like avian sort of threat, something like that would be a nice change. I see like bats a lot in a sort of promotional material.
Got the bats in the
And
game. Go
and
to
in
Thunder
the
Valley.
they're in the wilds and Plunder Valley and stuff, but like if they could add those as something you could hunt, something you actually had to shoot down from the sky and cook and sell to Merrick, because obviously Merrick eats anything these days. I would be really up for that. I think that would be a nice sort of small tweak, even though they'd have to develop a whole AI for it and hitboxes and stuff.
Yeah, that is interesting. In the original trailers, I think even in the reveal trailer of Sea of Thieves, there were actually flocks of parrots that were on the ground as well. And when your pirate walked close to them, they fly away. And I think they actually had a body too, instead of just being something that your bullets go through. So I think it was originally an idea to do something more with wildlife, but it got scrapped for the final game. So definitely interesting, and I agree with that too. Like, I want more wildlife variety. I feel like I'm saying this in every podcast. I would be so happy when they just reskin the shark and make it the hammerhead shark. That would be a really small addition that would make me really happy.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they have concepts of that in the art book. I don't know how much of that concept work was actually carried forward or was just held back. But they've got some good concepts in there that they could sort of lean on. And on that note as well, can we have another concept art book for all the post-launch stuff as well? Because I'm a sucker for concept art. I've got a real fetish for it.
I've seen the book. I've held it in my hand, but I still need to buy it myself. I
will send you a copy.
Oh, sure. All right, cool.
There you go, sorted.
Cool. I'm Dutch, so I'm gonna keep you to your word on that. Free stuff, right? Anyways, let's dive into the discussion proper. Let's talk about season 2. We're gonna talk about forts, of course, and the trade routes, but let's start with the tweaks they've done to the renown system and all the new rewards. So just like season 1, you got an entire season to make it to level 100. It's a bit easier this time. They added some new trials as well, and of course some new rewards. They updated the Plunder Pass. If you buy it now, you can earn an additional 250 ancient coins, which is different than season 1. Oh, and the final reward are mermaid scars, and I think Pirate Legends get a nice hull. And if you got a Plunder Pass, you get a Dark Phoenix figurehead, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about this updated renown system and the rewards?
So as for the sort of renown system on progression, I haven't actually got that far in the season pass yet.
But you're not level 100.
No, I'm level. I think I just hit 45 yesterday when I was doing some gameplay. But like, from what I've seen so far, like the actual progression's better. It feels sort of more in line with what I expect. I only finished season 1 because of the double XP renown gold weekend. I don't really have a whole lot of time to play per se, but I think this is a good balance for people who don't have a lot of time to play. But if you play the game all the time and you've got time to sort of have multi-hour sessions, it's not enough. I don't think it's far too quick still.
Yeah, like I'm happy you say that, because it's a big mix. Like, I hear it from my community and even the people I sell with too. Like, it's too fast. You're level 100 way too fast. You don't really feel accomplished. It's just something that happens when you play. But actually, that's not true, because Rare does look at all the data, right? And we're just players that play a lot. And even you, as another Sea of Thieves content creator, you still haven't reached level 100 in season 2 yet, so that goes to show that they probably are right about their data, and I'm sure they figured out that it's balanced, the best for the majority of the people. I do believe that. It's only for people like me who really play a lot, it just feels a bit underwhelming. But that's just the way it is.
I actually get that, to be honest. Like, the most hardcore player base, the Pirate Legends, the people who want to do the commendations, your server hoppers, all these people, they don't really get catered to as much as, say, the general community. I wouldn't call myself like a casual player, because I play as much as I can. I just can't. But it would be nice to have something sort of catered to the hardcore, where if you reach level 100, after that you have infinite levels of gold and doubloons or what have you, just to sort of reward you for carry on playing. I know you've already got the rewards, but once it's done, it's like, okay, now I've got to wait till season 3 to start progressing my season/plunder pass again.
Yeah, and I do hope they're gonna add that with season 3 or whatever, because I'm still completing trials now, but I'm not getting anything for it. And even you can say, oh, it's nice to complete stuff, but next season's gonna reset it. So like, why should I even bother completing it all now? But if you get leveling up and only got money, like every 10 levels you get 10,000 golds or something like that, and that's a great incentive to keep playing. So I really hope they're gonna change that in the future.
I don't know if this would be too much because some of the trials are very repetitive or stuff that we've been doing for 3 years. But in that same vein, if you still want to do the trials, maybe there's like a reward for doing like you've got like trials of adventure and trials of exploration. If you complete all of those, you get a reward, not an exclusive one, but I don't know, something maybe like, let's make it worth your while, maybe 100k or something like that in gold, just to sort of reward people, but you're also not missing out if you don't want to do the trials.
Oh yeah, sounds good. Yeah, I still won't do it. Like, gold is not a motivation for me, and it's good. It shouldn't be exclusive. That's a good point you said, because as soon as you make it exclusive, like I know a hat or something, like it becomes a chore to do all the trials again. Because man, I'm glad I finished some stuff. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, to be fair.
All right, so let's dive a bit into the. Oh no, let's talk about the Plunder Pass. Let's do one quick thing, because now you can earn ancient coins with the Plunder Pass. So how do you feel about that?
So it's a good change. Adding the extra 250 does make it more worth your while, because technically, if you finish it, you've only paid 500 for whatever's in the pass for you. It's quite strange though, because in other sort of industry standards like Call of Duty, Fortnite, as far as I know, when you finish the pass, you get you get all your currency back to spend it on something else. And I sort of get why they do that, because that encourages you to spend more on top of that.
Yeah.
Don't really understand why they do it. It obviously works from a business standpoint, but I think the more value you can add to that plunder pass, the better. The more money you're going to make, and the more people are going to buy it, because they think, oh, it's digital items at the end of the day. There's a massive markup on it.
That's a good point.
Exactly, and you're putting stuff in there like from old ship sets that probably aren't selling as well anymore, and you're not selling them anyway, but you're incentivizing people to make another purchase.
Yeah, but I still don't agree with how they handled it, to be honest. Because like you said, if you got all the money back, it's fine. And you said, oh, probably they're making money about it. Otherwise, they would have implemented the change. But I'm like, yeah, they can make more money if they do, because everybody would buy it then. Like, everybody who has a bit of sense in their brain will buy a Thunder Pass then if you get your ancient coins back. I would. Like, I'm not doing it now. Yeah.
Sorry, in that sort of vein, we've discussed this before. People who have, supported the game and bought your Paradise Garden ship set, your Bird and Bear ship set, they're not getting any more value for supporting the game early. They're not getting the money back for, they're not getting like 100 ancient coins for that, or like even a consolation. I think that's a bit of an oversight, because you're punishing the people who have made these expensive purchases and have supported your game, and you come out and say, oh, here's the plunder pass, here's some piecemeal old items. Thanks for supporting us, but we're going to put these in here because no one else is buying them anymore.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
No, and that's a big thing. That is a big thing, because the plunder pass now is $10, and if you were to buy a Shrouded Ghost costume, that's also $10. So if you bought the Shrouded Ghost costume and then comes into the plunder pass, it feels really shitty. And this is actually what happened to one of my crewmates. And now they're not buying costumes anymore, because, well, maybe it's going to be in a future plunder pass, and I'd be dumb if I buy it now if it's going to appear later.
We've already seen this happen with season 1 with all Dark Warsmith weapons.
Oh yeah, sure.
They're in the store now.
Yeah.
But now we've got the Dark Phoenix ship parts, not the set. What's betting first week of season 3? Obviously we don't know this yet. It's probably going to happen. Dark Phoenix full set is in there with a costume and weapons to match. And I've bought the plunder pass because I like that set. Just in case they don't come back, they're probably going to come back. I can't wait. I'm impatient. But that's going to be there. And now they've got me, because I've already paid for some of that. And now I'm like, maybe I should just pay the extra just to get the whole set.
Yeah.
That's how they get you. And people need to make informed decisions. Spend your money on what you want. I supported this Plunder Pass because it was better value, and I want to say, Rare, this is good. I like this. Carry on improving on this. But I didn't for season 1 because I didn't like it. So
Yeah.
that's my sort of mindset with it.
Yeah, no, I do get that. I just wish they added something exclusive that you couldn't buy in Emporium. Then it would really validate a purchase for me. Like if there was some, like a hippo or something like that.
For pet baby hippo.
Baby hippo, like, and you can only buy it with the Plunder Pass, something like that. Obviously not a hippo, but something else that's gonna, where it's gonna remain exclusive.
Yeah.
And they're so bad with their exclusive cosmetics. Like after no year or 2 years, they're like, yeah, back then we said it's exclusive, but that's we still have it, right? Let's bring it back. And I'm like, oh, please don't, Rare. I mean, the entire, like, you have this horizontal progression in this game, and people are really happy if they have something exclusive. Like if they've been there for a certain event and you take that away, and I don't really like that.
Yeah, especially with I don't know, like I know they bring out recolors to sort of soften the impact of that, but some like original cosmetics are really sought after, like the Whaling Barnacle set. As you probably know, as we've discussed in the past, but
Yeah.
it's hard to strike a balance between you need to be there or we don't want to force FOMO on you because that's not how we want to roll. We've changed that now. So, it's striking a balance. And if you, like you said, if you put something in the Plunder Pass that's exclusive to that Plunder Pass, say you get a level 100, say, let's not do a curse because I didn't agree with that. I don't know, a cool weapon or a set of sails that are just really cool, that would be fine. It's just a set of sails. It's not a whole set or something like that.
It's true. All right, let's quickly skim over the other rewards you can get. One of the most interesting ones is the barrel height emote. Have you been using that?
Yeah, obviously to different degrees of effectiveness. The barrel sort of floats above the air and it's larger than other barrels. I don't know if it's because my pirate is really fat. It could be that. It's sort of scaling with his hitbox. I don't think that's the case.
No.
It's a really cool emote. At first, I wasn't sure. And I've seen the shenanigans online. Like I saw the video. I think it was Beard again, and the pirate legend completely missed him when he was tucked in a barrel on the capstan. He just like completely blanked it and just carried on with his business. And you're like, how has this guy played enough hours to be pirate legend and he's missed that on his ship? So first, not happy. Now I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I've read the comments when the trailer came out, like the teaser trailer, like, yeah, the barrel emote, it's only gonna fool noobs, but no, people just miss it. You can be on the deck of a ship or on a location where there's no barrels usually, and people fall for it. Like I haven't done great plays with it, but yeah, people just miss you, and that's just funny as it is.
Yeah, it's only hard to. It's only easy to see if you're actively looking for it. You blend in quite well, even though you're obviously a little bit bigger. Unless you're, this is where you see all the videos of people like tucked in quite obvious spaces, and you think, oh, I would see that. But when it's dark and you're focused on something else, you don't pay attention to that sort of thing. I can see why it's really effective.
Yep. Yeah, a buddy of mine did it on the fort, like an active fort, and somebody ran up to him to grab some coconuts, and realized the barrel didn't work, and he just didn't think of it, just walked away, tried another barrel. So it's so nice to do, and I use it too. Like if I'm waiting for PvP and I need to do an emote to hide my gamer tag, I go with the barrel height emote. It's the obvious choice.
Exactly, yeah. It also helps that there's some barrels in the game that just don't give supplies. They're just there for decoration. So
That's
some people
true.
must think, oh, it's just a cosmetic barrel. Like the
Yeah.
one that always gets me is the one on the stand. I think it's Plunder Outpost. It's like part of a patio bench. I think it is. I always go to get stuff out of it. I'm like, that's not real barrel. That's part of the furniture.
Hey, that's good. All right, so I want to move on, but let's quickly discuss the final reward you get for level 100, and that's mermaid scars of the ocean deep, I think they're called. Have you seen them? Do you know what they look like?
Yeah, I've seen them on other players. Obviously, I'm not level 100, so I haven't seen them on me. But yeah, I like them. I think it, like you said before, it does sort of it hints to something that I don't know, maybe didn't make into season 2. Sorry, it's an
Yeah.
ocean deep theme, and there's nothing really happening with the ocean at all apart from these cosmetics.
Yeah.
With season 1 we had the theme of the Shroud Breaker, so we got a Shroud Scar. So again, we didn't really have a reason to sort of suspect that theme or what have you.
Yeah,
But
and we had frostbite clothing too, right? Which we didn't get.
yeah, so
I mean,
don't
I
know,
never expected we get a frosty region because they've said time and time like, no, we're not gonna do that. No, we're gonna do that. We're gonna make clothing for it, because so you can pretend, but we're not gonna do an icy region.
you're in the shores of plenty and it's 40 degrees Celsius, and you're like, I'm just going to put on this nice winter jacket with my snowy themed cosmetics. Feel right at home because it's Christmas time.
I indeed, but let's be fair. Like Duke has been on a Mermaid's Hideaway in season 1. It is obviously teasing to Mermaid's updates. I think you made a video about it too. And there is promotional artwork, even assets of finished merfolk. So yeah, it's bound to happen someday. And now we have season 2, which has a subtitle, Ocean Deep or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you have these merfolk sails and these merfolk scars. But where are the mermaids, right?
They're not appearing when I need to get back to my ship. That's what's happening.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like I feel, especially with how small season 2 is, we'll get in that a little bit later, but it is a bit of a small season. So I'm like, yeah, there should have been more content in this one.
Before we obviously move on to the next topic,
Yeah.
on the sort of the topic of rewards for the season pass, the free
Yeah.
tier, the Pirate Legend stuff was definitely a step down this time. Like, I know you got the Athena's Might Cutlass, which is really cool, and you've got that Shackled Phantom Hull at 100. It's not the same as a curse. A curse is like big business because we've had 4 since the game's come out. Obviously
like
not included the ones that are paired with costumes, but yeah, that's a big reward for 100, and I sort of expected that scale. And what do we get? We get the Ashen Dragon Hull in green with a bit of different paint at the front, and we're already going to get a green variant in the Jade Dragon set because we've already got the sniper, and obviously there's going to be a ship set that's recolored that. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to rock that, but yeah, it was just a bit disappointing. I was expecting like more hairs, more tattoos, more maybe even clothes for Pirate Legends. Like, yeah, 2 rewards isn't great, and I sorry to plug, but I made a video about how Pirate Legends needs to be updated, and it's a big thing for me that Pirate Legends are still not getting the lion's share of the content.
Yeah, that's kind of true, and I don't know what kind of rewards it should have been then, because how can you top a legendary curse, right? Like, we've been wanting that for so long. How can you top that as a final reward?
Or even then, like, it could be a different curse. Maybe they did have a curse plan, but had to scrap it because we got the scars and stuff. Maybe they had that plan and thought, oh, we can't introduce this now because it's not really a strong enough theme, so they did that instead. Maybe we'll get a curse in season 3 or 4, but
maybe I think we'll get the capstan for the ship.
Maybe we'll get the golden barnacle capstan next season, so we can get a full golden whaling barnacle set eventually.
Please, no, I really don't like the reskin rewards in the renown system, but I'm not going to discuss this now. I did it in season 1. My opinion is still the same.
Same, I agree.
All right, so let's dive into the meaty content now, and let's begin with the forts. They added the Forts of Fortune. Every 3 hours or so, a bellow will sound, hopefully attracting the entire server or the PvP-oriented players to the fort. They made a new skull for it. There's lots of enemies, including 3 lords, and the final captain is an Ashen Lord. And the treasure vault is as full as it can be, including some Athena treasure. So yeah, have you been doing these forts?
Doing the forts, yes. Finishing the forts is a different story. So yeah, like, I've only finished 1 fort, and that's because we weren't bothered. It took me ages because it was just me and one other person. It's quite difficult it's not difficult. It's quite tedious because everyone's got so much health, and It's really RNG with what sort of tools you get. It's not fun to do when there's no PvP. It's good to get the rewards from it, but when the PvP starts, that's when it becomes a fun thing. It's really strange. Like I said before, it's like year one forts where there's there's uneven alliances, or someone's going to swoop in who's a server hopper and attack you and ruin your day. This is the sort of stuff I like about it. And just a quick story. I'll go over it quickly. We went to do a fort at, was it Crow's Nest Fortress? And there was a sloop that we'd already fought before and lost to because they were allied with a brigantine. The brigantine had gone at this point, and we were doing it. And I don't know, I was planning to betray them because I didn't trust them. Obviously, because they were just acting really strange. I don't think they were going to betray us. I think they just really didn't know what they were doing. And there was a galleon coming, and he was trying to warn us, say, there's a galleon coming, there's a galleon coming. I'm like, okay, we can take them. We're 2 sloops. He picks up all the villainous skulls and just gets out of there. He goes. He starts sailing towards the nearest outpost, and I'm like, what? Why couldn't we just fight them? We can take them. So we were in a tussle with the galleon, and they came back after selling. But at that point, I had to go. It's obviously been dragged out far too long. I left, and I thought, Godspeed, little French crew. You can do this. You left us, but I trust you. You can beat this galleon. I think they would have beaten the galleon because the galleon was very good. No offense, guys, but
you should have sent me an invite. I would gladly sink all of them.
Yeah, I should have. I was playing with my girlfriend at the time, and she's quite new to the game. She's getting really good now. But we gave them a hiding in our little sloop from a person who's been playing for maybe since January, and obviously me, who's been playing since launch. They didn't know what they didn't know what they were doing. Essentially, they bit off more than they could chew from our little sloop, which is always nice to see.
Aye. I have a lot of stories too. I'm not gonna bother my subscribers all that much with it. I think I've done 2 from start to finish fort, but we've stolen about 20 of them by now. So yeah, obviously I think they're a lot of fun. We always get in PvP. There's not a single one where we didn't get into PvP. So yeah, I really like that. I just like fighting for a lot of treasure and getting away with it. It's just really fun. And like you said, yeah, I am one of those people that do server hop until we find a fort and then just go for it, just like the early days. And I really like that.
Exactly. Do you do the Silent Reaper where you obviously if you're running Reaper Emissary?
Did it once, but normally I don't really care for that. Just we me and my crew, mostly my crew, right? Let's be fair. We're all pretty seasoned, right? So we can handle everything. Even if we fight a galleon which is full of sweats, we still win because we're sweats too, right? So so it's fine. Yeah.
I remember being called a sweat for chasing this Reaper 5 galleon who just cleared the Fort of Fortune. They went and sold the Athena stuff at the tavern, and they were going to the Reaper's hideout. And they ran for ages from the 2 of us, and they called us sweats, and they're like, you're chasing after us for 1 horde. And I was like, it's a Fort of Fortune. Yeah. I'm going to chase you. And if you just maybe angled your sails or pulled them up or actually hit us a few times, you would have beaten us. But now you just run yourself aground, and that's made it easy to sink you.
Oh yeah.
There's sweats, and then there's sweats. I'm not fidget spinning, double gunning, 360 no scoping people. I'm hammering my sword because I can't aim for shit. And people are like, oh, you're a sweat, use the sword. I'm like, I'm really not good at this game. If you're losing to me, then there's a problem.
Yeah, man, Reaper ships shouldn't run. If you put the Reaper up, or the Reaper's mark, you should keep the honor to yourself and not run. You're a PvP faction. You chose for it. Do it.
Yeah, that's part of the mentality. I've had Reaper galleons sell their flag after we sunk them, not lower it, sell it once they've sunk. Oh, we've actually beaten you because we sold the flag, and I'm like, I really didn't care about the flag. Yeah, the money and rep's nice because I'm not 75, but you still lost. That's the most important thing about Reapers. It's it's not the gold, it's the glory that's important to channel my inner pirate lord.
Yeah. We had a fight too where a seasoned crew managed to steal the Athena chest, but we stole everything else from them. and they still acted like they won. And I'm like, yeah, but I know, like, we don't really care about the Tina chest. Like, the skulls are worth way more, and we got the skulls. So the Ashen Wind skulls, that is. So, so yeah.
This is really important because we're discussing this now, a Fort of Fortune.
Yeah.
This is a very good measure of how like the content is working, because we're sharing these stories now. I know we're on a podcast, and you know, it's for viewers as well. But if we were just speaking off air and we were discussing stories, we're still sharing the stories of the Fort of Fortune, and that is a sort of core facet of Sea of Thieves, where you know the content is you make your own content and you share stories with your friends on how I did this and I stole this and we beat these guys and we escaped these guys. This is like a nice sort of watermark of how effective this is in terms of generating stories, and I really like that aspect of the game, to be fair.
Yeah, same. And you know, it makes you realize why they're so focused on the data at Sea of Thieves, because they want to tweak it to make these new experiences so people talk about it, and it's working. Having said that, after 3 years, I would like some other stuff too. But yeah, no, it's fine. Like they did a good job on the forts. And something we didn't really touch upon is that you get maps too when you defeat captains, and they will give you firebomb crates and maybe even an Ashen Wind skull. It's pretty advisable to use that stuff while you're doing the fort. Don't you agree?
Yeah, if you manage to get lucky with an Ashen Wind skull or firebombs or what have you, definitely use it. You could get really bad luck and just get a normal keg. It's still helpful. In that same vein, if they added like one little tool extra that you can only find at the Fort of the Fort of Fortune, that would really change it up for me, because it's like that tool of new content. But yeah, like you said, it's very advisable that you use those to your ability, because it will allow you to breeze through certain waves.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely do that, guys. The only thing I'm really disappointed with these forts is, like, I can forgive the fact that the forts themselves aren't that new, which is a shame. But well, I get it. I'm just a little bit disappointed that the final fight is National Lord and not something original or a reskin, right? Let's make it golden or glowy or something like that. How do you feel about that?
Well, Joe Neat's going to hear this now. He's going to put 2 Ashen Lords in the next one. So well done. We've heard you hated the first Ashen Lord, so now you've got Warden Chi and Captain Grim to deal with. Enjoy.
Yeah, but joking aside, how do you feel about that? Like, that is just the same enemies and nothing new.
It's good from a developmental sort of perspective. It's good repurposing of content, because you don't have to create new assets. You just have to make sure the Ashen Lords can walk around the fort and that their pathing is okay. I don't know if that's the right term. I'm not a game developer. But for players, it sort of speaks volumes that they didn't show what the bosses were in the trailer, because I think they know that, if people saw that, there'd been a bit of a more mixed reaction to it. If I was going to say, if they put Stitcher Gym, spoilers for Heart of Fire, by the way, but it's been a year. If they did that, that would be a bad way to use the story, but it'd still be an Ashen Lord with just a different skin. So, do they add a new boss just for this world event, or do they repurpose it? It's really difficult to say. I wouldn't
mind a reskin with new voice lines. That would have been perfect.
Yeah, like instead of, like, I think it's Warden Chi that says "Come here, shipmates" or something like that. Maybe
well, they don't talk, right? They don't. They only talk during the Ashen Winds event, not during the forts. They grunt.
That's true, actually.
Talk. Yeah.
I've never really realized that.
Yeah, me neither. But my crewmate told me in the first day we did the forts. He's like, they're not talking. He's like, yeah, you're right. They're not talking.
Old Horatio is quiet today. Is he feeling okay?
So I don't know. Is it purposefully done, or are they meant to be placeholders for something else? I don't know, because there's a lot of lore behind those Ashen Lords, and the lore is like they used to be these high ranking generals of Flame Art, that got these flamey powers thanks to him. But they've been dormant, and now they've been summoned by the skeletons. And if you go to National Winds event, you actually see that summoning happening. But that summoning doesn't happen at the forts; it just appear out of the ground at the final wave. So is that the lore explanation, or is it just pure gameplay thing, right?
It's tough because the lore does make sense. The skeletons in the fort, the skeleton lords that used to run them, and the Ashen Lords are all aligned with Flameheart. But I think this is a case of sort of trimming down on the intensity of the event with all these special effects and stuff, and all this sort of flash that you see with the Ashen Winds, just to make it run a bit more smoothly for the server. It works lore-wise and gameplay-wise. It was quite an easy sort of switch. Sorry if it was awful to implement that, and apologize for my ignorance, but it would be easier than creating a new threat for those forts, essentially. So it's a mix of both, I think.
Yeah. All right. So overall, I can say we're pretty positive about forts, right?
Yeah, I'm happy with them. As much as my initial reaction was, oh, reuse content. Now, actually experience them a few weeks on, I'm really positive about them.
All right, great. So let's move on to the trade routes. There's another addition for season 2. Basically, what you do is you buy commodities at the outposts. You buy them when there's a surplus, and you sell them to the outpost that needs them to get the biggest value. So yeah, good money. I wasn't really that positive when it just came out. It was like, just another merchant busy work for us. We just got a merchant update, which was better. Just some more grind to do. I changed a little bit on that stance because some of my subscribers were saying, yeah, but you do feel like a merchant, and that experience is really nice. And I was like, yeah. And then I did more of them, and I do get where they're coming from, because you are going from outpost to outpost, and you don't visit any islands, so you actually do feel like a merchant, and it's easy money. So and that has some appeal too. I agree. But yeah, so how do you feel about those commodities and trade routes?
I was actually really positive to the change. I understand that we just had a merchant update. I feel like this was like a second part, and it was originally planned for maybe season 1 or whatever monthly update it was going to be. I don't know what their schedule's like, but yeah, I like how it makes you feel like a merchant. I like the sort of buy low, sell high aspect of it. And I also like the fact that Reapers were going to be rewarded just as much for selling them if you manage to seize them. But because of the nerf, my interest has definitely waned in it. And now I never really had a chance for Reapers to be a Reaper to see how lucrative this system was, because I was doing merchant voyages. And now I don't know, I don't think it's worth it anymore, considering how hard it is to make profit compared to before the last nerf we had.
Yeah, I still think it's pretty easy still, like even though they nerfed it. Because you start and there's a little risk involved, because if you're doing a riddle on the island, like somebody can roll up and just blast you. Like you're not getting ambushed if you're doing these missions, because you're just going from outpost to outpost. So I do feel like this is still a good addition for the people who want a more stress-free experience, so to say.
Yeah, I agree.
And if I want to get my merchant grade up, like I'm done with my cargo and with my animals and X amount of, I'm done with that. But I still want those emissary rewards that they've implemented now again. And yeah, I'll probably do trade routes. I think that's the best way to go. And maybe the lost shipment voyages. I still need a couple of those too.
I think it's a good combo if you do a lost shipment just to get an easy 5, and then you can do your trade routes then, and then sort of get the best of both worlds. So that's what I'm planning on doing anyway.
Yeah, totally agree. Anything else you want to add to the trade routes?
No, it was a nice little system. I just hate the fact that I couldn't take more advantage of it before the nerf, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, like the same for me. Like I was focusing on the forts, rightfully so. Like it's the most fun experience. Let's be fair. They did the same with the emissary system too. Like when they just introduced the emissary system, it was so easy to get Athena 20. It was ridiculously easy. And then they nerfed it too, and then you're like, oh yeah, just too bad I wasn't there when before the nerf. But oh well, hindsight is 2020.
Exactly.
All right, so let's go to the other editions, and we still have some stuff to discuss. I kind of bundled it together for the end of the podcast. There's new emissary rewards. First, it was unclear like how the system really worked, but it's going to be monthly. It's a monthly system again. At first I thought it was a seasonal system, but it's probably a monthly system starting in May. So when you're listening to this podcast, you can earn a new new rewards for getting your emissary ledger up. So yeah, how you feel about that?
I was disappointed to open season 2. Sorry, yeah, it was season 2. I've obviously earned all the rewards from the other emissaries, and it says, "Oh, there's no emissary rewards this month. You just have to wait till the end of May to get them." And I was really excited about all the rewards because they all look fantastic.
Mhm.
That's in the past now. We can earn them this month. I like the fact they're not doing it every month to, force you to keep playing. I think per season is fair enough to allow A, people to catch up, and B, people to actually earn the rewards. So they did say, I think in the season 2 trailer, they said there's going to be new rewards every season now. So I imagine we're going to get more ship parts not next month, but next season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really positive about this change. It's a bit overdue, but I can sort of understand how they sort of left it a year just to let everyone get used to it.
Yeah.
And on top of that as well, sorry to ramble on, I like the fact they put a tutorial now to try and encourage people to do emissaries more.
Mhm.
Because after the first rewards are gone, it just went really dead. And if you're trying to level up Reaper's Bones, it's really annoying after having to do PvE all the time. It's much better just to try and get flags.
Yeah, no, I agree. And overdue is a good word. You can say that about a lot of additions in this game. We're gonna say the same when they introduce presets. We're gonna use that word too. But yeah, I totally agree. It was a bit of a shame because they introduced the emissary systems and people were kind of doing it the first month and then it kind of died away. And now you see more emissaries on the seas again. So I think that's great. Not only with this new emissary system, but also segue to the new event that's going on right now, the Rebus versus the World, because it actually rewards people for staying with emissary flags. So let's dive into this event a little bit more. Like every period of time, new goals unlock. We started with the Gold Hoarder goals. Basically, if you do voyages and get your grade up and dress up as a Gold Hoarder, you unlock everything. May 6th, the Order of Souls will open up, and May 20th, the Merchant Lines will open up. And during this entire period, you can be a Reaper 2 and cash in flags. And I believe you need to cash in 20 if you wanna get all the rewards. So yeah, this event, Reapers versus the World. Do you like it?
No.
All right, please.
I have reasons for it. Essentially, it's good to sort of encourage emissary play. The reason it's a no for me is I've said this about events in the past. Events shouldn't be based off of stuff that we're already doing or encourage behaviors that we're sort of used to. It should be more like build rat adventures where you introduce like a new voyage or a tool a tool, or like a mechanic. Like even like Skeleton Thrones would be a good event because it lets us do something else. But the thing that sort of rubbed me the wrong way most about it is that the rewards for Reapers are not Reaper rewards. They're based on the other trading companies.
Mhm.
And they're literally just hats from the costumes, which is fine. I've wanted the costumes to be broken up for a while now so we can mix and match. But it should have been Reaper-based rewards because we're definitely suffering in that department, especially with the equipment and weapons being in the Emporium itself. So I see the view on it as well, and I think it's too long an event as well. It
Yeah.
seems to be spanning, I guess, the course of the whole season. It must be from my calculations.
June 22nd is when it ends.
Yeah, I think that
That's
must be the whole season.
Yeah, yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get another event, and we're gonna get the May update, which is probably just an Emporium update, and it's still this event. I don't think we get a new event, because this event is still going on.
What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I like it. Well, I mean, I'm not really enthusiastic about it, because it's just just something to do. It's easy. Like if it were like hard to get golds, I would have been more opposed to it because I don't really want to get out of my way. But all this stuff I end up doing anyway. So yeah, I can change my voyage slightly to complete all the goals. And I just think it's cool that people are getting rewarded for being an emissary, and people are being rewarded for actively hunting other players, which is a way of showing to everybody like, hey, sinking people and getting their flags is one of the ways to play this game. And these events are just there to remind people like, hey, this is something you can do.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good sort of assessment of the event itself. Especially when you hit the nail on the head there. That like it's not toxic or negative to take other people's flags. It's very beneficial to the person doing it, and you need to explain to people more that if you're flying a flag, regardless of how much loot you've got, the Reaper's going to want it because they get rewarded a lot for it. Especially if you get a level 5 flag as a level 5 Reaper, that's a lot of rep and gold in something that's otherwise quite grindy if that system didn't exist. And you can say this all you want, people won't change their minds, but it needs to be encouraged, and people really need to know what they're getting into with emissaries, essentially. And this is, like you said, a good way to sort of educate people on that.
Yeah, and it was the same with the other events too. And as long as the goals are completable, easy completable, then I'm totally fine with these events. Obviously, like for players like us, like with the Gold Hoarder thing, right? Like we've done it with one voyage, and we complete all the goals for the Gold Hoarder, just one voyage, and it's probably going to be the same for the Order of Souls. And I don't know if that's because I'm a bit more experienced. Because to be fair, you don't see a lot of grade 5 flags on the sea, so apparently it's hard for some people, I'm guessing. But I just rare on that part when they look at the data, and they probably tweak it the right way. I just need to trust them on that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anything else you want to add to this event?
No, I've said my piece of that.
The heads. The heads. One more thing. I want to talk about heads too, because you said you can earn a head now as your Reaper, but you can only earn 1 out of 3 heads, and it's dependent on the flags you turned in. Which I don't know. Like if I'm not gonna not turn in the flag because I want a certain head. No, if I sink somebody and got his flag, I'm gonna turn in the flag. So in a way, you're not really going for a head. It's more like whatever it ends up being, that's going to be my reward. So I don't know if you have the same opinion on that.
Yeah. One, it's not good that it's from another company. Two, 1 reward out of 3. What happens to the other 2 when you don't get that? I assume save for another event, or this time next year we're gonna have the same event. Who knows? And 3, like it's impossible to target something that's based on other players' choices. So I guess you could hop servers for Gold Hoarders if you really want that hat, or Merchant Alliance or whatever. But your reward is based on other player choices and what they need to do, not what you want and what you need to get. And it's a weird system. I sort of get the vibe around it, but I don't understand why it was done when you take that into consideration.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So I think it is interesting, but the way they're doing it now, can't really get behind it all that much.
No, I agree with that.
All right. So pouches have also been added now. If you kill a skeleton captain on a fort or just a random encounter on the seas, they will drop 3 pouches, and you get instant gold, which is nice. Anything you want to say about that?
It's just another one of those things where a lot of people complain about losing all their progress from sinking. It's sort of like a bandage to, like the season pass. Even though you spent all that time getting gold and you've still been rewarded for something you've done. It's instant gratification, and I think it's a good change, to be honest.
I think so too. Yeah. So additions like this help establish the thought with players that sinking is part of the game, and you're not playing the game in the wrong way. No, you just had bad luck that day. It's just a different experience, and if you still gain something that you can show for the next day, then people don't really feel like they've lost something, but more that they had a different experience than an experience when they sunk somebody else or did a fort or something like that. So so yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah, just to sort of build on that point, I see it a lot online of different forums and social media platforms that it's a very emotive thing to lose your loot because you've lost your time and you've not gained anything from all that time you've put into, which is very different from other games. And I think the biggest mentality to have is that you've gained something small from the experience. To look at the horizon next time. Not to do this next time. And I think you just have to take it in your stride. Like everyone sinks, I sink, you sink. Blurbs, Pace, Captain Falcor, all these people sink. There's always going to be someone that manages to sink you, and it could be out of your control, it could not. And like you said, it's really good at encouraging that you've still got something to show for your progress.
Yeah.
Sinking isn't the end of the world. You've lost a bit of time, but pick yourself up, dust yourself off. You've progressed your season. You've got some pouches. You've at least got something.
Yeah, indeed, totally agree. And the last point that's in the notes, at least, that is if you sink, you now spawn further away from the person that sunk you.
I've read it in the patch notes, but I haven't really noticed this at all, to be honest with you. Obviously, their data says otherwise. I do believe them that is the case, but there is always going to be a case where the game's like, I can't put you here because there's someone at this outpost, and I can't put you here because there's someone here. So you're going to be at Keel Hall 4, and we're going to spawn you at Smuggler's Bay. And that's just a case. That's a fact of life. I haven't noticed it myself, but I imagine that is true. In fact, when I sink, I tend to spawn like on the other side of the map. So if I'm at Mermaid's Hideaway, they're putting me at Rawler's Arch, But if I sink like a galleon, we're at Mermaid's Hideaway and they're at Crescent Isle. That's just going to happen.
Yeah, indeed. I have nothing to add to that. I totally agree with that. So let's go to the conclusion. How do you feel about this update as a whole?
I want to hear your thoughts first, actually, because I feel like I've been going first, but I want you to go first for this one.
That's fine. I'm pretty happy with the forts. I can't be mad at the addition of the merchant. It's people are happy with it, and even I'm a little bit happy with it. So that's fine. I do feel stuff was missing that this update would have been bigger. And the thing I also want to mention is that it still doesn't feel like a season update. Because they said, we're going to do seasons, right? And we have 3 months to make big content. And the big content is going to drop in the first month. And then we have Emporium updates. Fine. Brilliant. Because when we had the monthly updates, especially the last ones, they were kind of sucky. Let's be honest. They weren't that great. So I think it's a great system for the developers to keep our expectations in check. So we know when to expect the big stuff. Great system, but you do need to deliver, and they're not really doing that. Like I said, I'm happy with the forts, but if you compare it to a monthly update, the Fort of the Damned, there was a brand new fort. It was player activated. That was new. It added the Shadows of Fate, all the colored skeletons, and they made it so that the Flames of Fate actually had a uses again for something new. And they even reskinned Grey Marrow as a final boss. Like he fights the same, but it's a reskin. So they did some extra effort, and it has a lore explanation to why he's a ghost and the Fort of the Damned. And that was a monthly update. And if you compare that to a season, like a 3-month update, I'm like, yeah, but what we're getting now is less. So I'm a bit disappointed with that. Yeah, that's my 2 cents in this update.
No, that's a very fair assessment, to be honest with you. This does feel like maybe a monthly update, maybe 2, because you've got these 2 sort of activities. But then again, you could argue that merchant commodities could have been part of season 1 if that was a monthly update. Just because there's a season pass there, a battle pass or plunder pass or whatever you want to call it, it's the staple for the industry at the moment. Just because you've got that in there doesn't mean that the content is enough for 3 months. We can talk about how much you can progress it. If you play loads, it's not 3 months for you. If you play like me, maybe it's 3 months for you. But just because you have a season pass doesn't mean you can say this is worth 3 months now. And what I feel is that we've been told this is going to be the best year for Sea of Thieves ever. And in my opinion, we're like a third of the way, maybe a quarter of what year 1 was. Because you look back, we got Hungering Deep, we got Cursed Sails, so that was 2 AI threats there, alliances, like a mini campaign. We got Forsaken Shores, which is a whole map expansion, regardless of how you feel about the Devil's Roar, because it's quite dead now.
I love it.
Yeah, we got rowboats tied with that as well, which was like a new tool. That was a new thing. Then we got Shrouded Spoils, which was like the best quality of life update I think we've had. Just so many small changes that made a big impact. Then if you really want to go like that, Anniversary, I know it was outside the year 1, was just like the biggest update we ever had. And that was off the back of 4 amazing updates. And then we get to now, we had those last 3 monthly updates, which I really wasn't a fan of, because you had a scale of you can have a Heart of Fire, or you can have a Haunted Shores, or you could have Fate of the Damned. That was the scale of monthly updates, like how wildly different. And then we get to seasons and we're told we've got 3 months to develop stuff. They're going to be bigger. Season 1 was left over from monthly updates. Fair enough, we were aware of that. Season 2,
Yeah, that's fine.
it's still like season 1, but like I thought we were going to get more content. I apologize, Rare, if you are struggling to get this stuff out, and I understand delays happen, but that was a big promise made to us last year. I don't know how you define a promise, but we were told this was going to happen, and now all I'm really seeing is a monthly update now with a season pass that's sort of smattered about, and then we've got 3 Emporium updates each season as well for 1 monthly update. That's how I'm seeing it at the moment. Sorry to be blunt, but the stuff we have is good. As I said in my review, like it's fun, but there needs to be more of it. And maybe that's me being green. We're 3 years in now, but I wouldn't be expecting this if I wasn't told prior. This is going to be the biggest year for Sea of Thieves. Maybe that's on me for my expectations for being too high. Apologies for rambling, but yeah, that's how I feel as the update as a whole.
No, I think that's a really fair statement too, because Rare has been hyping us up. Like it's not a discussion like did we hype ourselves up or did Rare did it, but no, Rare did it, right? It's really obvious. So it's when you feel about feeling disappointed, and actually with the knowledge we had from past updates, like it does make sense. So I totally get that. And I also get you saying like I'm not trying to hate on the developers, because that's also true, because we do know, like, I don't think they're lazy. Every time I see that in my contents as lazy, no, they're not lazy. They're really doing the best they can. Like, they have their own struggles, and we also need to take that into account, and we do. But still, it's still okay to be disappointed after being hyped up so much.
Yeah, I think the worst part is that you get some sort of detractors in these sort of conversations that say, "Oh, you're hating on the developers. You're so entitled." No, I'm saying these things because I love the game.
Yeah.
I love what they do. This is definitely my favorite game of maybe like the last 5 years. Definitely my favorite of the last console generation by miles. I've played it more than anything else in years, and it comes from a place of passion. I'm sure you share the sentiment, and as many of us do in this sort of conversation. Like, we're not hating on the developers. We're not trying to be nasty, or I don't want to come across that way. But we're giving this feedback as we want the best for you. We want the game to thrive, and we feel that this sort of feedback will go a long way into improving the game, and as well, it'll line your pockets as well. Because at the end of the day, it's a business. We're consumers, and we're feeding back to say this is what we like, this is what we want to spend money on.
Yep. No, totally, and that's a good way to end the conclusion of the season 2. So we have a little topic, like just a small line in the notes, and that's about leaks. So if you don't want to be spoiled by anything in this game, you should leave a thumbs up and then watch another video.
Go away now. No complaints in the comments. You've been warned.
All right, and it's small. It's not it's a big leak, but it's small information. So I'm gonna dive right into it. There's 2 tall tales that have been leaked, including their names. So the first one is the Sunken Crystal, and the other one is called Dark Breathen. These were leaks on their website. It was accidentally added at the tall tale page or wherever it was quickly noticed by somebody, and then the website was down for a couple of minutes to get those sections away from the tall tales tab. I didn't see it myself. Maybe somebody made a print screen of it. If they did, I'm not gonna look it up because I don't really. I know I see it when it's there, but it was how do you say it? I did want to mention it in the podcast that 2 tall tales have been leaked. So yeah, what's your 2 cents on this?
I'm glad you brought it up because this has me very excited. It's been what, a year and 3 months since Heart of Fire, and these titles alone, without having descriptions, are enough to say, "Oh, I can speculate on this. Oh, I think I know what's going to happen." But more Tall Tales for me is absolute must, and I hope if they are still planning on bringing these out, hopefully it's season 3. I think it's going to be season 4, just
Hmm.
because of the vibes I'm getting from them. But I really can't do like another 3 months of Duke moving around the map saying, "Oh, I feel unwell," or "The skeletons are finding me," and my voice has changed, but I'm not going to explain why. And you're like, "Ugh."
Yeah. He has a new actor, right? Yeah, that's true.
He
Forgot to
does,
mention that.
and we know that happens when Tall Tales are in battle because it used
Yep.
to happen with some of the NPCs before Anniversary, didn't it? So just to quickly speculate, so the Sunken Crystal sounds like it's relating to there was a chest that Flameheart's son found, Flameheart Junior,
Oh
that was
yeah.
purple, and there was purple crystals on it. There's a picture of it in the Tales from the Sea of Thieves book,
Hmm.
and that draws the Kraken, but I don't think it's going to be about the Kraken per se. And we know it was taken to the Merfolk, or will be taken to the Merfolk if that happens in the future. And they don't want anything to do with it because if it is involved with the Kraken, we know the Merfolk don't hate the Kraken. Sorry, they do hate the Kraken. I think it's going to be related to that. Sunken just gives me Merfolk vibes, definitely.
Yeah, same.
Dark Brethren sounds like Stitcher Jim, sounds like Flameheart, and probably Wander again. I think this is going to be a ritual that either turns Duke into something else or Flameheart's getting revived, like for good.
Hmm.
He's coming into his physical form, and
Hmm.
it's going to happen at the end, and we're going to fail to stop it, and then it's going to leave us on a cliffhanger for the next year, and then he's just going to show up at like
Next year or
Ancient
two.
Spire with a beer or something like that, saying, "Yeah, I'm back. I can't really
Hmm.
drink this because I'm a skeleton." But no, I think that's what's going to happen with these. I could be completely off base.
All right, interesting. I'm happy that you can ramble so much about just the names of these tall tales. That's really good. And yeah, it's an interesting point too because has it been a year and a half now since the last tall tale?
Yeah, so March 2020 with Heart of Fire, where
Oh my.
spoilers, Stitcher Jim got cursed to be an Ashen Lord, and we just haven't heard anything since.
Yeah, we still haven't seen it. I've been watching some of my older reviews too, and when Heart of Fire ended, oh, can't wait for next month to get the conclusion to this story or the next chapter. A year and a half, and we're still no further at all.
What's happening first? Next Tall Tale, or possibly even Captaincy? That's what we're down to at this point. Which is more likely?
Captaincy is never going to happen. It's a false promise.
Well, that was just like press talk, wasn't it? They had no idea what they were going to do post launch, and like, you know what? We'll bring a shark into the game. We'll do it. Forget captaincy.
Well, it's captaincy is something they want from the very beginning, but it turned out to be way harder than they anticipated. So that's why it's on the back burner. But it's still on the to-do list apparently. But I don't know. We'll just see when it happens. The same with buying cargo crates, right? We didn't mention it, but that was also planned way earlier. Well, complained about way earlier, and now they've implemented. So I know.
Fair enough.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. So on that sort of note, do you have any speculation of where you think these tall tales are going?
Well, Sunken Crystal, yeah, I'm thinking Merfolk. Obviously, Dark Brethren, I don't have a clue at all. It sounds ominous, and I can't wait to find it out. So yeah, no, I'll just wait till I see it. That's my basic attitude towards it.
Yeah, so I've been waiting far too long for a new tall tale, and having Duke teleport around the map with cryptic clues is really getting to me.
Yeah, I
It's
can
really
get that.
it's eroded my patience, and I think this might be an extreme statement, but waiting a year to progress a story was just bad planning. Obviously, like COVID may have affected this, obviously
Yeah.
with voice actors and stuff. But I think with Flameheart's story arc, as hard as this sounds, they should have done it all, developed it all as a block, like they did with Shores of Gold,
Hmm.
and then you can release it when however you want to tease the story. So drop it all
Yeah.
as 9 tall tales, or however long you want it, or do one a month, or one every 2 months, or maybe like every quarter, maybe 2 or 3 tall tales in smaller chunks. That way it's spread out over a year. But as the main antagonist of the Sea of Thieves universe, people might say the Gold Hoarder is he's chump change compared to Flameheart.
Hmm.
He is the main antagonist, and I feel like it's been his impact has been dampened by this release schedule because he's just a floating head to most people, and a lot of people just don't know what he's about.
Yeah, and are sick of it too. Like with his noises he makes every time you sail by.
when he says, "My Ashen Lords, my keep at the heart of fire," these are all facets of a wider plan, or whatever he says. What is the wider plan? Like, it's nice to have these ominous things, but waiting a year to find out what his plan was might be good for a teasing perspective, but for players, especially players who are invested in the lore like me, really, really do get frustrated about this. I understand there's a release schedule that you want to keep to, and Tall Tales do not make enough money, and they do not have a return on investment like they do with, say, Seasons. But
Yeah.
it's an underrated part of Sea of Thieves. The lore is there. The lore is very well written and it's unique, and it needs to be brought more to the forefront. I know it's not what a lot of players want, but you're underselling yourself in this regard, because Tall Tales are really something special.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like some crew members of mine, they don't really care for the Tall Tales, but they add so much to the game, and there's so much lore. It's the biggest lore game too. Like they haven't done as much lore for any other game in the past. It's a lot.
Oh, I
And
don't
it's
know.
fun.
Banjo Kazooie lore is quite deep, to be fair.
I know more about Banjo-Kazooie lore than Sea of Thieves lore. Yeah,
Probably
but
because there's just more story missions for Banjo Kazooie.
well, there's a lot to lore to be found in the comics and the novel, right? So there's a lot written about Sea of Thieves for sure.
Oh, on that quick note, it's not on our itinerary, but there's another episode of Sea of Thieves Origins coming out on, I want to say, the 7th of May with
All
more
right.
Pendragon. The
You need
first one,
Amazon, right?
it's Amazon Prime. It's called Comixology. I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
It's just like an Amazon thing, isn't it?
I'm not gonna do that, so I can't read them.
Ugh.
I'll have somebody make print screens for me or something like that.
Yeah, maybe someone can do that for you.
Anyways, we're going off tangent, and I kind of want to wrap things up. So with the league discussion out of the way, we've also come to the end of the podcast, and it was actually, I feel it's really, really fun podcast. Can't wait to edit this. So if you like these discussions with other YouTubers, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It does really help out the podcast, so please do. And before I forget, I also have Discord. So if you want to chat with me and my crew, or give pointers why I'm the biggest idiot in the universe, you can do so in the Discord. Link will be in the description or in a comment. So I would like to thank Ray, AShinyRay, for being awesome. And can you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Yeah, so thanks for having me on. So you can find me on Twitter at AShinyRayquaza, and you can also find my YouTube channel, AShinyRay. Just pop it in there. I'm sure it will show you my terrible content. But yeah, give it a look. If you like Blubber stuff, we're very similar. You probably feel right at home with my content. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, definitely give him a watch. It is worth it. So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for listening. You, the listener, are also amazing. So do something daring and have a nice day. Take care.
Take care. Bye.